Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more International 5 European qualifier action. We are into the playoffs now, which is phase number 2, and our first series today is going to be Navi taking on 4 Anchors and Sea Captain. We're actually in game number 2 now. 4 Anchors looking very good and very strong in game number 1. They take the victory here, and I'm back by my side. Being my co-caster, it's going to be Cinderin, but we also have on the panel, of course, Hani and Ben Berlini-Wu. Gentlemen, welcome back. Before we go ahead and start dissecting or maybe reflecting a bit on game number 1, the draft for game number 2 is already underway, so let's go ahead and jump into that. So we were expecting it. How are they going to be starting out this draft? Ben, you said maybe they need to put more emphasis on either banning out or picking up the Shadow Demon on the side of Navi. Well,
it depends on first pick and second pick. I think they might forego the Gyro. Oh, okay. Undying was picked. This is way deep into the draft.
Yeah, we tried to rush into it.
Look at the first bans from Navi. Like, that for me is the big storyline of this.
We didn't like what we saw.
I mean, I don't know if I want to call it tilt or not, but I feel like when you get beaten by a strategy in the game before, and 2 of the heroes that beat you, you never ban, and you ban both in the next game.
I don't think it's tilt.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't want to call it tilt, but it seems like what's the word for it? They're frustrated. That's what I want to say.
I would say they're I'm frustrated. They're mainly frustrated because their normal counters to those 2 heroes were used in the last game and it wasn't effective. They had
but don't you want to ban one of them then instead of both?
Well, they were both annoying, right?
But wasn't that because of the pairing?
Not necessarily. I would say, they play without PL for some of the game. I would say, like, even Shadow Demon plus Cuddle is really annoying too. That's like a lot of magic damage. It's like somewhat unavoidable, difficult to push into, and but they had the Gyro versus the PL as well as the Night Stalker versus the Keeper of Light. So like they're both 2 opening picks were somewhat an effort to counter those 2 heroes, and it didn't work. And if you don't have other solid counters or something that you're not comfortable or something that you're comfortable with, then I think it's worth banging it out because those were clearly their first top choices as counters.
I wonder how 4 Anchors feel about it. Now, I know if this is not the case for them, but I know for other captains, and I know someone like PPD said this, is that they don't like to do the same draft twice. So They see bands like that, and they're like, fine, we weren't even going to play them anyways. I mean, I know for 4 Anchors in particular, mostly when they run that kind of Coddle PL lineup, they usually do it on the Radiant side. They're on Dire's side now, so maybe they were already planning on doing something different. They're like, cool, we already have 2 bands that we weren't even going to care about anyways, and we get the advantage of picking up something now like a Queen of Pain. So I'm curious if that's a factor at all. We don't know exactly. We're not the fly on the wall for 4 Anchors, but that could be a factor.
I think on the side of, pretty much actually on both sides. What I like about Navi's picks here, the first 2, Leshrac as well as Shadow Demon, to me, it's kind of like stealing the strongest 2 picks of 4SC. And it's the same goes the other way around. You have 4SC picking up the Queen of Pain, and then I believe, that was that first pick, Queen of Pain, where then you steal a Leshrac as well as the Shadow Demon. I think it's a good response by Navi here.
I think so too. Navi play the Lesh, I think, both on... Well, I don't know. Who actually plays the Lesh for them?
Havos mainly does.
Havos plays. Okay. So, oh yeah, that's right. I actually saw that. So they have a core player for the Leshrac. They have definitely a solid support on the Shadow Demon. I think Art Style and Sonico both have played it and been doing a really good job. And like you said, it's a deny pick. So it seems the strategy is, all right, we ban out 2 picks that they're really comfortable with, and we pick 2 picks that we share as part of our pool. And 4 Anchors kind of doing the same with the Queen of Pain. But after that, Rubik, AA, not really heroes we see out of Navi that much. We've seen the AA art style, AA from art style once or twice, I think. But Navi have got to be really happy with what they've got. It's classic Navi style, super active map control roaming with Night Stalker, Beastmaster just really looking to get kills and pickoffs and counterpicking the Quap nicely too.
I have to say, though, to me, Beastmaster as well as Night Stalker do not interact that well together. Because as soon as you take Night, Beastmaster Hawk is not as great. Sure, you have the vision of the Night Stalker, but usually, if you see Beastmaster on the other side, a Night Stalker is a good response because you just take that Hawk away. Hawk doesn't have nearly as much of an effect anymore. I'm just wondering how the laning is going to be. Is it going to be a Night Stalker support where you have a core Leshrac, then you have a Shadow Demon plus Night Stalker support with a Beastmaster off lane?
Yeah, I think they're liking damage. Both of those are like good at getting information, but what are you going to do with the information is the problem. And, Shadow Demon doesn't input that much damage. Night Stalker, especially if he's support, doesn't. Beastmaster, unless he's like a mid with Necro 3 really quickly, also does not give him that much damage.
So do you think Lycan was a good pick here? Roar is obviously one of the best lockdowns, but I'm just thinking if you get a hero that does well with BKB, Navi can't kill it right now.
I do like Lycan a lot. I feel like the hero is a bit undervalued at this patch. If he gets the right lane and you can contest him, and I think it's not that great to contest here, you run into an A, Lycan, and Rubik. It doesn't seem too bad as a combo.
I've seen that combo owned before. Chilling Touch plus Howl is, I mean, Rubik and AA are already really strong together.
Yeah. On the other side, though, you have a Leshrac Shadow Demon with a Nightstalker. It's not too bad, I would say.
Do you think they're going to run aggressive try?
On Navi.
I'm just thinking.
I think it's way too risky versus that lineup. I don't think you can aggro try into that.
I'm just very afraid that if you give that Lycan that good of a start, and he will have a good start if he's not contested, that Navi is going to have a hard time potentially in the mid game.
I mean, they have a Quap in the mid lane too, so I think it can like easily be punished.
True.
So I would think that. I mean, if they lose that lane, they're pretty much done for, right? Because then Lycan gets probably even more farm than he would have in the 3-on-1 situation. So,
do you think it could be a Leshrac middle, though, that host does not play that Leshrac, and then you have a Shadow Demon that then can roam on towards the mid lane? On towards that Queen of Pain?
Yeah, that seems more likely. It's really easy to get a kill. I would say Queen of Pain's already going to be low from all the spam, and she can't blink out of the combo.
And then it's still a support Nightstalker, but another core for Kvothe that we don't see yet.
So you have a bit more damage, potentially lockdown even.
I think they need a physical damage core. So for this kind of game, I don't think Leshrac cuts it. So either you pick Dendi as Shadow Fiend mid, but you see Anchors are banning that out for probably that exact reason.
Yeah. I thought we were picking a hero for Foast.
That's what I'm saying. That's the alternative, is if you put Lesh safely in the mid laner needs to deal physical. So.
What do you think of a Void pick here? If you would just not... you run a Void, you have a Leshrac that can still do quite a lot of damage in the Chronosphere, then sure, Beastmaster as well as Nightstalker don't really contribute too much in the Chronosphere, but you have a lockdown for Lycan that split pushes. And if Void gets fat, he can always deal with a Lycan that split
Gyro got through last?
Yeah.
What?
Maybe
I was like, man, Gyro would have been a really good pick because they have a lot of setup but not that much damage. But then I was like, oh, surely it's banned. And I didn't even check that it wasn't banned.
The problem with Gyro is that it's a split damage carry. So that doesn't solve the Lycan problem, I think. When he has a BKB, I still think he doesn't die. So I don't know if I agree with Gyro as the best pick here. Void had, like you said, it has some merits. I think it also has some weaknesses. Like you said, the synergy, it synergizes with half the lineup, not so much with the other half. I think generally when I see Void picked like that, it tends to lose more than win, just to my memory. So I definitely think...
I still think they can kite the Lycan, though. I think they need to kill all the other people and then wait later. They can like disrupt them. They can also roar him, so it's not that big a deal. And I mean, he can also go more single target build like Havos did last game, right? That build would be really good at killing a BKB Lycan.
They went for the Clockwork last pick. It's good against the Lesh if you get the jump. I feel like it's one of the worst matchups in lane, though. I think Clock generally gets destroyed by Gyro if there's any lane support that helps him out. So.
I'm generally not the biggest for the offlane. It's good for sure. Good for the Gyro. He can control Clockwork quite well, but I do not like Clock too much in the composition with a Lycan because
I agree.
You have you jump in with a Cogs, then sure you kind of have to cut yourself out of it. But Lycan tends to you want to go for that target, and if you open that Cogs, it just doesn't seem as effective anymore.
Well, I think it's just going to be a more split push with Lycan, and then combo the Clockwork Hook with an AA ult plus Queen, and then. They'll deal with that, but I think for the majority of the game we won't see those heroes in conjunction.
All right, and with that, gentlemen, we're going to get into game number 2 now. And if 4 anchors are able to walk away from this game with the win, that means they have secured already their trip to Seattle, whether that be in the wild card or even all the way into that invited position. We'll have to find out. But for Na'Vi, if they want to be staying alive here in the upper bracket, they'll need to claim the victory here and try to take it to a game number 3. With that said, we're going to go ahead and let Merlini and Hani go. They'll make their return at the conclusion of this game to talk about what exactly happened. And, well, for now, it's going to be myself and Cinderin back again, bringing you the coverage. So with that, Sin, we'll see already early movement coming up from Na'Vi towards the bottom lane here. This is a bit peculiar, but it looks like they're going to just have a bit of a roundabout. Maybe scouting out 4 acres are trying to do an early aggressive ward, which it looks like they already got away with.
Yeah, Trixie went down there really quickly and got that placed. I don't even know if Na'Vi have sentries available in any case. So.
Oh, I like this. I think they're going to remove the tree so Clockwork can't block them out. Oh, that's very nice. I've seen this a couple of times now. That means he can't just do the easy, cog block and then allow them to kind of get pincered into the corner, the little tree closet, if you will, and then take over the Creequilibrium a bit. So they probably saw it, though, because obviously the tower aggro there. So I wonder if they're going to do anything about it or if you know, Trixie's probably like, I better block these creeps as hard as possible just with my body.
Yeah, and you can still catch all 4 in the power cogs, and then even though it's not as good probably as splitting them off, you can still, okay, he gets a 3 catch here, which is not that great, but he gets 1 creep pretty clearly ahead of the others, so that one should die fast, and he should still be able to destroy the equilibrium. It's almost impossible if you just do decently with clock. You see he's going to have cogs again. It's a low cooldown. He can just use 1 more here. Lets 1 more through and blocks 2 off. Yeah.
All right. But, you know, so Nico's trying to see if maybe the range creep was going to be the one to make it through. It's not the case, so it still ended up working out pretty nice, at least early on, for Trixie to get that early soak of XP. He only has to take on the dual lane, it looks like, for now, as Night Stalker is busy, probably roaming elsewhere, maybe all the way towards the top lane. We'll have to see. So he'll try his best to, you know, wrangle up some CS, but for now, the clock should be fine as far as XP goes. But here we check out the matchup between the mid laners here. This time it's going to be, it looks like Dendi on the Leshrac, and going against Matamba Man. We were questioning whether or not this was going to be the Havos Leshrac or not. I think 4 Anchors were even anticipating it being, you know, Havos not banning out something like the Gyrocopter early on. So we'll have to see.
It is an interesting mid matchup. I don't want to say there's a clear advantage for either side. Of course, Quap usually wins the lane by going in aggressive using Shadow Strike and pressuring, but Lesh can always counterplay it with just Lightning Storm or even a stun. And both of them probably going to be... Oh, actually, Matamba taking a lot of damage there before he finally blinks. And we'll be using a Tango. Dendi coming out big here. 8-2 against 3-0. That should probably not be happening for Matamba.
Yeah, this is a heavy head start right now for Dendi on the Lesh. And he recognizes already the kind of dominance he has at this point. So we'll have to see if it's something that will have to be counteracted. But the rotation possibilities from 4 Anchors seem to be a bit limited. AA not one to really kind of roam around and try to get off any sort of early ganking aggression. Oh, nice splitter of catch and the Lightning Storm once more. Matamba Man is getting punished in this mid lane quite a bit.
Send out a salve.
Yeah, that's when you know things are not looking too good.
And at the same time, oh, cogs from Trixie.
Trying to contest the pull through here. Looks like it might have stopped him a bit. There is that double stack.
This is salve from Dendi too. So both mid laners faring out. I think Dendi actually didn't even ferry out that salve. He might have started with it. Or maybe he did. But yeah, regardless, Dendi's bottle should be coming earlier as Boogie trying to put a little bit of pressure on Dendi mid. He can still just farm pretty safely here with the Lightning Storm. And I want to point out Lycan CS. He is doing a pretty good job at keeping his last hits and denies in check. 15 and 13. This Beastmaster is not getting much. Clock is getting way more as far as levels go. Funnig is level 2. I think Trixie's level 3.5 bottom. Might actually be pressured a little bit here, but still. Okay, only flat level 3.
Look at this, just even way behind that tier 1. Just they really want to try to zone back Trixie as much as possible. Okay, there's going to be something. Can he catch out a good rocket barrage here? They're trying to move way on in, and it looks like they might be able to here. And they'll get it, but it actually costs Havos his own life. Oh, with that, I guess Havos gaining the bit of the first blood bonus, but look at the rotation coming in from Boogie. They might get more out of this. They try to eat his tree, finding his way out, but there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, and it looks like the 2 supports are going to gang up on the 1. That actually turns up for the better of 4 Anchors, or is it more of a wash just because of the first blood bonus?
At the very least for Na'Vi, Clock didn't get the first blood. So it's fairly even because of the TPs from 4 Anchors, but you're not satisfied with fairly even when you go in 2-on-1 like that and get pressured out of lane. I guess I would say slight advantage even for 4 Anchors in that exchange.
Well, Havos does make his immediate return back to the lane, kind of a setup here. And we'll continue to farm it up. Boogie also going to be kind of holding out the lane here for now, while Trixie seems to kind of be taking the longer road there. So with that said, very curious to see what they're going to be able to get up on the side of Na'Vi with this first Nightfall. You see a trigger right here, and immediately some niggas like, this is my time, and you're going to have to step away from this lane.
It's art style, right?
Is it art style?
Yeah, it's art
This is
style.
why I hate having to wear my glasses, Cinderin.
Sorry.
I slept in my contacts, so I have to wear these glasses. They have that crazy little glare, and you can't see it, but I am like leaned way far forward to try to see this television. Big mistake. But hey, actually Trixie using the Invis rune.
This would be a really big kill when Dendi goes forward.
There it is. Good catch. They're going to grab the Goat Man here within his cage, and it looks like they'll be able to get him down. Rotation comes, but oh, a nice defensive disruption, but it's still not going to matter. The screen's going to be there to follow, but here comes Art Style now, charging on forward. They're going to get the slow with the Void, and they're going to get the kill on the Queen of Pain. Can they follow up with another here into Trixie? Trixie actually caging him right under the tower here. Is not going to be able to walk away, it looks like, but a good bump back after the cogs. Well, Art Style will not be able to make it out alive. Lots of bloodshed here in the mid lane makes it a 2 for 2.
Considering how they opened Dendi with an Invis rune, getting a 2-for-2 with 4ESC getting the last kill with no experience gained, I think Na'Vi are going to be pretty happy with that exchange.
So already off to a 3-4 advantage for 4 anchors, but as we already checking again on this Lycan in the top lane, now 32 and 25, channeling his own inner Dendi with the amount of the nice he's been able to pull off. Oh, back at mid lane though, that's where the action is once more. This time it's going to be a splitter setup, I'm sure after the disruption. Your Queen of Pain is going to be going down. Na'Vi strike back in this mid lane and continue to allow Dendi to get a little bit more extra space. So, very big assault happening.
It looked like Matumba went for an aggressive blink. I think he had cooldown on blink after he got disrupted, so I think he wanted to blink, scream, and ult the Shadow Demon. But Shadow Demon, quick enough in the reaction on the splitter, and then the splitter's follow-up was able to lock him down for the entirety of that kill.
Oh.
Mid lane Boogie.
Yeah, he's in trouble here. Artstyle clearly using as much of this nighttime advantage as he's got. This time it's going to be on the Boogie, the Rubik. Easy setup because of the slow. It's nowhere you can get away from the split earth from this Lishrak. But here comes Trixie now. Look at this.
Another good rune for him.
But Dendi's already on his way towards that top rune. And look at this. Chilling Touch, the first shapeshift of the game. They're going to make the run. Can he get a good body block here with the Wolves? It's actually going to force Phonic to take the low ground, going towards where Dendi is coming from. And now they're going to look to turn it back again. It seems like Artstyle is just all over the place with his Night Stalker. He's just really taking advantage of his move speed, trucking across this map.
It's so important. He was level 2 minute 4. Literally just hit level 2 when he was when it was minute 4, and now he's level 4.5. So doing a pretty good job. Trixie is probably going to get solo here. Nice.
Yeah, not good
job
sidestep.
avoiding that. Might actually live if he just TPs here.
And he
does.
does.
Oh, this is close. Gets out.
Oh, last little pellet might have been able to do it, but good heads-up play right there. And now it's Matama Man trading with Dendi. Man, this game is just all about the aggression. And, yeah, Trixie, man, the step to the south to avoid the call down would have meant the difference between the life and death. And because of that, he's able to walk away. Havos going to be really having to work for every sort of pickoff opportunity. You saw with the first one there, involving the first blood, he's able to get it, but he ends up losing a lot out of it thereafter. And Artstyle, man, he is continuing to just be all over the place, stalking about.
Nighttime's about to end. Quost has, however, overtaken the Lycan now on farm. Lycan took, he lost quite a bit of CS for trying that engage on top. I think he had to run all the way back to base to regen up, and now he's going to be jungling a bit as they give the safe lane to Trixie for his level 6 probably. As he does have a fairly good matchup there against the Beastmaster. That's a pretty interesting lane with the Boars matching up against, of course, Clockwork's general superiority over melee heroes. Matumba wants to look for the gank. Doesn't really find anything.
He's taking the wave with him as well.
Yeah, hasn't been his best game so far. As Dendi wants to bait them to get the rune, but Boogie saw it.
Oh, man. He's going to hit with the Lightning Storm. Going to be forced to use his Blink to step back and away. They tried to keep back Sonico, but he's still going to be able to get out the disruption. Followed up with the Split Earth, and really Boogie has nowhere to go. So he's going to be dropped, and it's another successful kill for Na'Vi at this point. Do you think the game plan for 4 anchors in this one was to really try to get a lot out of the 4 outside of the Lycan, being able to have good setups? You got your hook shot that could be coming in from your Clockwork with an AA ult on top of it, Queen of Bane there to get out the additional burst to bring them all the way down, of course Rubik being involved, and then having Lycan be on the other side of the map, split pushing, taking objectives, and maybe trying to sneak in an occasional Roche?
That was definitely their plan, but they're not level 6 yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to... It's proven to be quite difficult to kind of get to that point when they're expecting to be in their prime, because Na'Vi have put together a lineup that seems to be very happy to go extra aggressive early on so that they could thwart that kind of a plan. And so far, it seems to be working out pretty well.
Top lane, Phonic has cracked level 6, so a lot of kill potential up here between himself and the level 6, by the way, on the Shadow Demon. Very early grab for Sonico on the Shadow Demon here, so they could look to just try as smoke. As they are starting to wrap around, they will use it indeed. Moving down toward the mid lane. Seems to be a high-value target. Or maybe they try to find Nymphy. Actually going to see him now with this Observer Ward, but not the most likely kill for them to pull off. Boogie in the bottom lane looking for 6. It's so important for 4ESC to find their ultimates. They are just flat out weaker when it comes to fights right now.
Here comes Havost. He does have the lift, but he's going to hold off on it. He's going to just use his little boots to walk away. And this is the back end of that smoke from Na'Vi. It looks like the pressure is not there. They're going to be heading in the jungle to look for an opportunity, but bottom lane, you can always see the pickup and throw back. There's going to be off the Sonic Wave here. They're able to bring down the Leshrac. And meanwhile, Havostas go down. Now Trixie going to be on the return. And now they charge on forward here, hoping to get Dendy, but there's going to be the Void coming out from Artstyle. Trixie looks like he will go down at this point. And on the other side, you see Boogie trying to hide on Bout. Going to be scouted up from the creek, going for the TP. Will make it away. Ends up being a 2-for-2 all day here.
Where did Shadow Demon die?
I think it was in the jungle. They were roaming him in the jungle on the back end of that smoke, and it looks like that's where they took him down. Just simultaneous action from both sides.
Yeah. Even trade again, but Lesh is pulling more and more ahead. Dendy has been really involved in addition to getting good farm. And if 4ASC's lineup can isolate him, they have some decent counters, but as Hani pointed out, Lycan won't really be able to kill him that easily inside the cogs unless if they hookshot in, open the cogs, get Lycan in, and even then, can you get Lycan as well as both his wolves and optional necro units in there at the same time? I'm not sure about it. The cogs are only so big, so could become tricky for 4ASC to deal with this Lesh. And then you also have the Gyra at the same time, who's also finding farm. So Navi's two cores are looking really good.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, but, you know, of course, it's just me after all, that maybe the Clockwork would be looking to something like he makes the jump onto someone like the Lesh. Now, it's not good for him to isolate and go one-on-one with Lesh, but if you're able to take someone like Lesh out of the fight and then you have Lycan left with the rest, maybe they could split apart the fight that way, but it's going to be tricky when you kind of have these, you know, melee cores and you got the cogs involved. It becomes a bit sticky as far as how they can kind of move in and out of these fights. We'll have to see, though. It's got to be something 4Acres did think about, though, when they picked up this Clockwork. But we'll see. Phonic, who had put together is putting together a good lump sum of gold. It seems like he's going to be going for the book grab, that Zookeeper build up on your Beastmaster here. So book on book hate could be coming here potentially in this game, depending on what the Lycan likes to go for here. It looks like for now the Vlads and potential early Buckler to come out.
I think Medallion.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he'll
Medallion for the Roche.
Yeah. But there's actually no guarantee. But I don't see if, like, he might just go for a casual chainmail and make that into a Curious later, as Matumba is very dead.
Yeah, nowhere to go.
Good angle from Artstyle, right as Natural Night starts.
That's the thing. We already saw from the first night. The second that the night comes down, he's just happy to get something going. And that seems to be the kind of motivation here with Na'Vi. When they have the opportunity to kind of capitalize, they get their night, and they're looking to take advantage of it. They're going to move in, try to find any sort of opportunity they can to get onto 4Acres. And I expect Artstyle to continue to move across the map. But here we go. They're trying to block with the Wolves here. Nice pull through. Makes for an easy setup. It looks like they're going to get the kill on Phonic. Was he able to get his book yet? No. So he'll have to be put off a bit. Meanwhile, mid lane, Trixie. The aggression comes out from Artstyle as expected.
Nice lightning storm.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get the grab. The range on that is just so ridiculous. Good setup. And because of it, Denny's going to be able to get the pick off.
This is one of Artstyle's classic old heroes. Really very, very good when it comes to playing it to the limit with how far you can extend before it becomes an overextension. Now 2 or 3 times in a row, he's engaged fights where he essentially tower dives, and it seems like every time he just barely survives. 11-7.
Rubik still not 6 yet. Really wants to get that ultimate because that's his bread and butter, but it's not going to come easy. Here comes Artstyle from behind, and this is going to be a bit troublesome, and an easy finish right there for Dendy is going to land the splitter. That Ice Blast heading towards the bottom, not going to be catching on Havost, and now the Edict coming out from Dendy. His Leshrac already grossly farmed at this point. Not going to be able to finish off that tier 1 quite yet, but this is looking to be a bit of a headache here for 4Acres early on.
And they're looking to find a hookshot with Trixie with the Wolves scouting out and then follow with Matumba, but they weren't ready at the right time when they had the shot on Dendy. And ultimately, Dendy just gets away together with Artstyle. 5,000 gold and, or actually, pardon me, 6,500 gold and 5,000 experience. Looking really solid for Na'Vi early on. It is going to be Blink Dagger for Phonic. He went back for that.
Okay.
And that should probably set them up a kill here in the bottom lane together with Hvost if anyone comes even remotely far forward.
It seems like Matumba not happy with how many are missing on the side of Na'Vi, plus of what they've already seen from Artstyle and moving across the map. They got to make sure that they decide to go to a lane to farm it on up, that they're not going to get surprised, because that's been happening way too much this game already. Then he steps back, will farm out his side camp here, obviously looking to build up into his Bloodstone first.
He has it now.
Yep.
It's minute 14. 14:42. It's got to be one of the fastest in this qualifier. That is a very good timing.
Well, we got his stats, man. I'm sure he'll kind of give us the gist if that's the case or not. But yeah, just about to strike the 15-minute mark here. What's the answer here for 4 Anchors at this point to come back? Because it seems like Na'Vi just kind of have a firm grasp and control. It doesn't look like a Roche opportunity is going to be coming, even though he gets the smoke now as if it's something they're looking to do. I wager Na'Vi, you got your Hawk to work with. They're going to kind of keep tabs on whenever the Lycan tries to make a go at it. And if you got something like a Blink Roar, it's going to prove to be a bit difficult. And with that, they're going to be able to secure this Tier 1 tower. Let's see if Boogie could snipe out a last hit.
Oh,
Ice
looking
Blast
for the Ice
comes in.
Blast. That's a pretty good one. Hook shot.
Big follow-up, big cog setup, but the call down the return. Trixie might have jumped himself into his own death, and it looks like it is. A snag is only going to be the lightning
what a
storm,
whiff.
but man, that is not the opening they were hoping for. This was a lead-in jump opportunity from 4 Anchors. They end up losing 3, and because of how quickly they were brought down, they were hoping that it was going to be a big chance for them to kind of get the space they wanted for this Lycan to do the Roche, but because they end up all going down, he's forced to withdraw from it. So that smoke movement in, not going to be coming out to anything. That's devastating for 4 Anchors.
That just went all kinds of wrong. So this Ice Blast is pretty good, but this is where you want Quap to be there, right? Right when that hook hits, you want her to be there. She's now starting to move in from the right. Blinks in behind the fight. Matumba coming with the haste. Gets a scream.
Ooh.
That is just...
That's not good.
That... Well, I think realistically he only kills art style, so it would still have been a bad fight. But for ASC, for this to work, they need to be all the heroes in the right place at the right time, because Na'Vi puts so much pressure and they kill people off really fast. So if you want to try to fight them, you better be ready. And a good disruption there from Soniko as well on the hookshot target. Really disrupted for ASC's plans here.
Nice. Well, Ancient Aberration, as we already saw, not looking to step off for his Midas first. He's already got 2 components towards the Ags, but as you can see, Dendi already building up charges on that fresh Bloodstone. So this Leshrac, really good timing. And his farm is just going to continue to get more and more scary. 4 Anchors, an opportunity like that to get a big jump might not come so easy from here on out. And already, Na'Vi getting close to like the 5-digit net worth advantage at this early on in the game. That is very, very good. But here we go. Na'Vi continue to try to move down that list of objectives. You see Dendi now taking to the bottom lane here as he moves on in. Havost, got to go for the SNY here.
Minute 17, very early. Looking very good on the farm, as you mentioned. And they even get a counter ward up here, so starting to get some more map control, as Night Stalker is definitely going to look to not just hang around when Natural Night kicks in about 2 minutes. He also has a Darkness ready. As Na'Vi pose 3 heroes in the top lane, 4ASC already showed in mid, so they're feeling pretty confident just to go and start attacking this tower. And more than likely, 4ASC not interested in contesting. Quap has no mana. Will be getting, not even getting a bottom rune, actually. As they give it to Nymphy, trying to get the Roche. This is a pretty good trade. I think Na'Vi are aware, though. They're starting to move down here. Will they be fast enough? It looks like it.
The darkness comes in, and that gets 4 Anchors a bit nervous, so they immediately disperse. But as Nymphy goes towards the bottom, it's right into the arms of Artstyle, so he starts just right-clicking him on in. Now the Shapeshift comes out, but oh, the still good catch from the Split Earth. They're going to get the kill onto the Lycan, and that means that Na'Vi can take this Roche for themselves if they so choose.
Yeah, and
But
even
it's
if
against the
Lycan
clock.
buys back, he does not have his ultimate.
Oh, they're deciding not to go for it. I mean, you're doing it against the Clockwork after all, so maybe it's a bit sketchy, but they're happy with the control they've already gotten in this game. And now we have to look to 4 Anchors. What's their response going to be at this point? It's already looking like Na'Vi are so far ahead. I mean, Dendi there at the top, 8.7k on his Shrek. Havost behind about 1k, 7 and 7. But looks like Na'Vi going hard as they can to get it into a game number 3.
It's actually no problem if they just calm it down a little bit and keep farming here for Na'Vi. They do scale pretty well in this mid-late game, and I think in comparison to last game, this time they have the solution. They also have a clearer win condition. I think that was a problem of their lineup last game, was that, sure, you can win your laning stage and you can put a little pressure early on, but you need to be able to high ground, and this time I think their lineup is better for it. They get an actually even better early game than last game, or rather, early mid-game portion has been really good for them. And if we go into a farming battle, it's a Lycan and a Quap that scale well in the Dire. Clockwork not really a strong position 3 when it comes to dealing damage in the late game, more of a controller. On the other side, Beastmaster amplifies the damage of his team with the Aura, probably goes for a Necro Book to start dealing some pretty good damage as well. And Na'Vi even have the opportunity of turning Night Stalker into a core as well with his really explosive start.
Unlike the first game, like I know even in that game, 4 Anchors were falling behind at the start, but I still felt a bit of confidence that there was a point that they could be able to turn it around. With their strong high ground defense, they could always take the game back on a Shadow Fiend and a PL. I'm just not feeling it so far with this game. It doesn't seem like Lycan's had any sort of easy opportunities, whether it's finding objectives on his split push. Clearly, it's been difficult for him to kind of move in the Roche and find, you know, some work there. I just don't see as much faith for 4 Anchors to try to find their own kind of comeback path in this game. I mean, we'll leave it to them to see if they can prove me wrong or not, but I don't know. It might come down to maybe a hopeful new re-engagement here, led in with a Trixie jump, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
They need a good spell steal too. They have to get a really key ability, like maybe a call down would be a great steal, or perhaps even something like Lightning Storm can actually be really impactful if the fight just extends a little bit.
Yeah, or a Primal Roar, be a good grab, but
that would be good too.
Man, oh man. It's going to be tricky. I mean, you're committing to a Clockwork-like initiator, but you know there's a Night Stalker on the other side, so now he has an Agnum Scepter. Finding those opportunities for hook shots is just going to be very, very hard. 600 vision at most during that darkness. Them and the wards, they're not going to be seeing a whole lot. And not finding those kind of opportunities could be very, very grim. And you can already see Na'Vi on the prowl here. 3 of them moving towards mid lane. Can they make a go onto Metalman for now? Just zoning him back with the early rocket. It's going to force him out. So Nico, nice deep ward here. You know, it could be good to scout out maybe any smoke plays that 4 Anchors go for to try to find an opportunity to kind of get themselves back in this game.
And I don't agree with 4ASC's decision here to just let Na'Vi take control of the entire map. I mean, sure, you don't really have that much of a choice when they have the Night Stalker, but essentially they're giving them 2 towers for free, maybe even 3. And I think they do have a smoke, and this is where you need to make the choice. Oh, wait, if they don't have a smoke, then they actually have no choice. I was sure they had one. Okay, well then, yeah, then they're screwed. Because if they had a smoke there, you go for that play. It's risky as hell, but it's definitely better than getting into the same situation where you lose 3 towers ultimately. Na'Vi will only claim 1 for now, but with the dark map and 4ASC not having smokes, they can't really move out and surprise Na'Vi at all during nighttime. So Na'Vi could be doing Roche right now. 4ASC would have no idea. They're going to go back and pose in the mid lane and secure this tier 2 for themselves as it looks. And now they have the choice of whether they want the top tier 2 as well or Roche. There's just 4ASC have no counterplay at all right now because they don't have smokes.
They don't have smokes. They didn't get as much out of that big mid lane fight they were hoping for. Had that mid fight gone in their favor, then they would have came out on top there. Plus, Lycan would have been able to move into the Roche and finish that off. But because none of that happened, feels like they're forced to kind of play this more over-disciplined kind of a play where they're almost just turtling and waiting and just kind of, I don't know, it feels like they're almost scared at this point to kind of move out and get anything done. But for Na'Vi, you know, it's props to them to be able to kind of keep that map control and get this fight. They're using these kind of aggressive wards to kind of read where 4 Anchors are going. If they decide to split apart, where they can move in and continue to punish them and just kind of take this game for themselves.
Clockwork taking some damage top. I think it's just flak cannons, but
oh no,
now it's more than just flak cannons.
Yep. Man, and when they finally decide to venture out on their own, they'll get punished just like that.
The BKB now picked up for the gyro. And that's when it gets tricky for 4ASC. Well, it already is tricky. Artstyle's going to get the silence off, not going to get frozen. Good movement here. Casts Darkness. He has a gem. That's a pretty big kill if Nymphy can get him here.
The nice defensive disruptions there. Ooh, a miss on the split earth, though. And with that, they try to run up and away, but the Roar is going to be coming out, and with it, they're going to get a nice 2-man kill here. So 4 Anchors, again, they move out from the base. You see Trixie taken down at the top, and now mid lane, they lose another 2 here. Na'Vi looking to kind of treat this as if the first game was just a fluke. That they could even the series up and just take it to immediate 3rd game. Now, for Valex, he's able to finish off his Agnum Scepter, but that's just one tool. I feel like they're going to need a bit more if they want to try to get themselves back into this game. Now, don't get me wrong, an AA Ice Blast with an Ags is pretty damn big, but I'm still not convinced that it's going to be enough in this game.
He's playing it into 2 BKBs, and they don't have physical damage. So they have a Lycan only who actually can't run in because he's just going to get roared or just get brought down by right clicks. And the Sonic Wave goes through BKB, which is a little bit of a joker here that could play to Foria's advantage, as he is almost getting an Aghanim Scepter now, but I don't think it's going to cut it.
No.
And this Roche, probably free. The Rocket's going to scout it. It is daytime, though, and Artstyle does not have ult, so they're probably going to feel a little bit scared as they're going to dodge the Ice Blast nicely.
Yep.
They might look to re-engage.
Oh, they
Blink Roar.
Wow, what a good way to close the distance. They're going to go right onto Trixie here. Now, they lead with the Roar, but he is going to just jump his way out from trouble. Good stuff.
That still forces the hook shot out, and that's a Roche.
Yeah, that means that the hook shot not going to be coming towards the pit. And now Na'Vi feel a lot more secured in being able to finish off the big boy. And that will secure an Aegis for the Gyrocopter. I would have figured out maybe they could have put it on the Lesh, but I guess more value on the Gyro?
It's good on both. Lesh is going to respawn very fastly with very quickly with the Bloodstone anyway.
That's right.
So he could probably just buy Boots of Travel now, and then if he does die, what's that respawn time cut down? It's 13 charges, so that's 52 seconds shorter death time. Yeah, he would be back in like 10 to 15 seconds and just pour it back in. So like the choice of giving it to the Gyro. And, well, for ASC, they got their first tower. Minute 26 with a Lycan. That is not what you want to see.
No, not at all. Especially after what we saw from him in the first game. I mean, is this just something that they have been forced into with a bit more of an awkward draft, or is it just because of those big fights we already saw? Na'Vi already getting so much out of the Night Stalker, even starting at minute 4 when he left that bottom lane, found some kills going through mid all the way to the top lane, and then, of course, that mid lane fight. Is it just since then that 4 anchors have been kind of put in this position, or was it the draft?
I would say so. I think Artstyle has played a really solid game. I think he's definitely been the playmaker for Na'Vi, and they also first phase picked at this time, by the way, probably anticipating that 4ASC would be banning it out. Or, no, wait, never mind. They got Shadow Demon Lesh first phase, right? So, actually could have been a potential ban for 4ASC, maybe considering it going into the 3rd game, which, spoilers, is very likely at this point. They're very far behind 15k gold and 12k experience in a game where I think Navi's late game matches up to theirs pretty easily even. The timing window for 4ASC's lineup has is kind of gone, and considering Matumba Man's massive impact last game on the PL, this game has been pretty lackluster. Some whiffed spells, some questionable aggressive blinks that ultimately got him killed, and that's a hero that does not play well from behind. 4ASC are going to smoke. They're going to look to at least find 1 kill here on Funnick.
Now they pinged on the Funnick here, their own ping, so I don't know if they saw it, but I guess not. There is going to be the cold feet. A nice quick kill onto him. There's going to be a
there's a
follow-up
bonus.
hook.
That's a gem.
Okay, Artstyle, if he does go down, they could get it. This Scream will be able to connect the wave flies through. The gem's going to hit the deck here. Aegis also going to be used here from Havost. Now can they bring him down? Dendy's doubling back quite a bit. And now you see it's quickly 4 anchors pulling on back.
And Matumba walked in to try and get the gem. I think he might have misclicked, dropping his TP to pick it up, and as a result, Hvost manages to grab it after the fight. That's still a pretty big swing for 4ASC, and it's what I was talking about. Well, if they're going to do anything in this game, it's with a smoke. And they find 2 kills at a very big deficit in gold. That's about a 3k swing. It's a start, but they're going to need way more than that, and the question is, how long do they have to wait for that? 10.5 minutes. Okay.
I don't know where they smoke. It must have been deep inside their own base. Na'Vi still have that ward right out their front door, so they had to do it way inside the base for them not to detect it here. Okay, Ice Blast to fly out. Pavos, though, he actually charges on forward. He's looking to go for Boogie, and he's going to get the solo pick here. Does cost him a BKB charge, but still another notch in his belt. And here comes Funnick, back from the dead. Looking to open up. He's got the blink and the roar ready to go here, but he's being scouted out from those wolves, getting all that bits of intel. All the meanwhile, as you can see, with the help of the Edict and company, they're able to take down the tier 2 in the top lane. Na'Vi slowly pushing on in, a bit from what we saw in the last game, but as already stated, 4 anchors, we'll see. Not as much of a strong high ground defense as we saw in the last game. Can slow them down a bit. They got good wave clear with the Queen of Pain. Cogs could slow them down quite a bit, but I don't know if they're going to have as much. If Na'Vi come out with a huge fight near that part, and, well, speaking of fight, they break out one here on the bottom. They get disruption on the Nemphy. Nemphy, though, trying to use that race car speed to kind of run himself away. Will be TPing here, and he will make it away. Not enough of the poison damage, and the splitter comes just a little too late.
Ice Blast actually going to have a Blink Roar on Matumba. The Ice Blast did connect with Shadow Demon, so they found that one kill, but this is going to cost them. What a call down!
Yeah, because of it, they jump right into it. The 4 of them all taking that big bit of damage, but these cogs try to push them on back and away. They're still going to be losing their Queen of Pain. It looks like they're going to be able to get Volix there after a godlike streak now for Dendy and Havost. Pixel was a nice killing spree. He's able to make it to the high ground to get away from this one. Very badly beaten, but there's going to be the urn to kind of heal him on up, and ends up being a 3-for-1 trade, and that one being just the snipe that came up from AA. But that means they didn't have that AA Ice Blast for the push that was coming on in.
Yeah, they have it now. He buys back and sends it right down the middle lane. It's going to connect on Dendy. No, no one.
They saw the buyback, and they're like, let's just move the hell back and wait for the Ice Blast. Sure enough, it comes. It connects on no one. It's going to be an air ball. Oh, and they're going to get the quick snap here onto the Clockwork. Trixie ends up going down. Na'Vi looking to claim this tier 3. Looks like we'll be going to a game 3 here, Cinder, and Na'Vi well in control of this one.
It's going to take a... I was going to say minor miracle, but I think we're entering medium miracle.
Okay.
For them to come back into this. Yeah, it is. It's been a very solid performance from Na'Vi in this game, and Necro 3 now going to be coming out on Funix Beastmaster. Dendy gets himself a regen rune. Getting close to an Octarine core, by the way. Only 2k to go for the Lesh. And you're just wondering, how are 4ASC actually going to kill that guy in a team fight? He will at least not be healing with Ice Blast on him, I guess. So that's something. But then it absolutely has to connect on the Lesh if they want to deal with him. There's other problems as well, of course. And even should they start the fight off nicely, Soniko has been on point with his disruptions. Will very easily be able to delay, maybe stall out for the Ice Blast to expire. And it's looking grim for 4ASC. They do hold their racks. They have to buy back. I want to mention, too, in that bot fight, we saw that ended up leading into the mid push from Na'Vi. Hookshot from Trixie got blocked by a teammate and got him into the call down. So they missed that one, perhaps, opportunity they could have had out of that. I don't know if they would have actually won them or found them any kills, but perhaps mitigated the loss a little bit.
Yeah, it almost like he just threw himself into the call down in the worst case situation. But an unfortunate misstep leads to more profits here for Na'Vi. Now the Butterfly picked up here from Mr. Havost. Necro 3 finally done for your liking. Obviously not at the quota you'd like to be. And it doesn't look like any sort of Roche opportunity is going to be easy for him. So it's a good book, but this is feeling like more of a defensive book. Not like he's really going to be finding the chance to kind of use it to find any sort of split push action on the side. Na'Vi pretty much have control of the map from top to bottom. I don't even foresee the 4 anchors making it outside the base front anytime soon.
That's a stat. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
It's Trixie's second worst GPM ever at 30 minutes out of 494 games.
That's a harsh stat to put up there.
178 GPM on a position 3. He is barely above the Rubik. Well, now they have given farm priority to the AA, I think, because they deemed the Ag Scepter would be a better choice, and I think it's the right call to give it to him over the clock. But even then, it's just, it goes to show how hard of a game 4ASC have had in general.
Do you think there's something they could have subbed in instead of the Clockwork? I know it's hard to just look back and just be able to be like, oh, they could have just done this instead, but, you know, we were already a bit puzzled by the Clockwork pick in the draft itself and how its interaction is going to be with the game. I mean, or it's more credit to possibly Na'Vi on being able to make sure he couldn't get much out of this game.
I think an offlane Earthshaker could have been good, but I think that was banned with Tusk in the second phase from Na'Vi. Pretty sure. So, I don't know. It's kind of a limited
oh, man.
array of options he has, as Nymphy is probably not getting out. Maybe with this hook shot, maybe they actually even find Dendy. He's dead.
Yeah, they get him. All right. Call it a bait if you want, but, hey, he tries to make it go into the Lycan. There's Trixie who shows up.
That amount of gold.
But, yeah, just...
what?
Okay, that's one Lesh, and Lesh is already back because of the Bloodstone, but, boom, big boost right there. And yeah,
that's a 2,400 gold swing from one kill.
They're making it rain right now. Very, very good. But
oh yeah, he could have Bloodstone denied actually instead of trying to TP out. It's kind of, I mean, usually we don't. We look at it like denying is a nice play and it does have an impact, but when you're this far ahead, it's actually a really big difference. That was. We do find Volix here bottom at the same time. In hindsight, definitely Dendy going to be a little bit frustrated that he didn't just go for the deny play there, as he did hand over quite a bit of gold. But they're still feeling confident, I think. That is not the end of the world. When you have a 20k lead losing 2,000 of that is still
Nothing. Pennies.
yes.
So
exactly.
with that, they charge on in. They're going to get 1 Rex down, it looks like. It's on 4 anchors to try to defend their base if they don't want to have to force this into a game 3, but that seems likely. Your wave going to fly out. It does hit Soniko, but they're going to quickly turn it right back onto him. There's going to be the call down. The axes move on through, but it's Havost who gets the kill, who's now dominating at this point. And here they go, charging on in. 4 anchors, though, obviously not looking to just kind of throw in the towel quite yet. In fact, if I remember correctly, this is a team that was happy to see their whole base go down before they were ready to kind of get that white flag in the air. And we could see a bit of the same here. Dendy's able to finish off his Octarine core, and, well, with that comes even more possible punishment. But for now, Na'Vi, they pull back after the racks do drop, and now they're going to look to go for the Roche. With this, they get their extra life, and probably even more of the confidence if they even needed any more on top of it to try to finish what they had once started. Oh! They're still going to be able to catch Funnick there with the huge radius of that Ice Blast, but they just seem to be on par with matching on the timing, or at least scouting out their mini-map so that they can step away and not eat too much punishment. Okay, Trixie, this is your moment now. It's been a hard game. Let's see what you can do. There's a jump in. Is he able to snag it on up? Nope, Havost gets it. Trixie just turned into a bucket of nuts and bolts, and, well, Na'Vi get their Aegis and they get to walk
That was a
away.
kind of nice attempt, and I don't blame him for it. You got to go for the YOLO play there.
The Hail Mary, if you
Yeah.
will, yeah.
And it didn't work. It was fairly close, considering. Well, did they have vision from a wolf in there or something? Actually, because then it was a little bit off. I don't think that wolf was. Oh wait, that was a boar anyway. I think they have a gem on Na'Vi.
They
anyway.
also had the rocket, too, that
Yeah.
he probably preemptively shot out, but
I'm not sure if the vision was in there anymore from that rocket, but yeah, he tried. It didn't work, and ultimately just ends up feeding away a free kill, which doesn't really matter that much considering how far away Na'Vi are, and there was no risk of getting pushed immediately after and having to buy back. So he's going to come back soon, as Gyro will be getting the Aegis again, currently carrying around Dendy's bottle, just getting himself a little bit of health and mana here, and probably looking to get his next item sometime soon. 4,000 gold currently on the Gyrocopter, as Dendy gets a point booster, looking for the eggs, most likely. Could be a Scotty, but I don't think so.
Don't get to see Ags very often on Lesh much anymore, but maybe it just feels like he's that far in ahead. Why not?
It seems like at this point he could buy whatever generally good item he wants on Lesh and he would be fine.
Here they come through the northern part. Looking to move in. 4 anchors. We'll see
Heart
what they can do.
on Gyro.
No
Okay.
Satanic this time. I'm going straight for the high. But here we go. Tier 3. Slowly going to be brought down to a crumble here with the help of the Edict. There goes Sonic Wave, but it's going to be on the return. Funnick shows his own bit of a scream, dishing out the Primal Roar. Your Queen of Pain going to get dropped. It's Trixie soon thereafter. And now the Rax going to be taken down. 4 anchors. It looks like their ship has sailed in game number 2, and that they will have to dock it for what could be their 3rd matchup. And the dream on moving on forward into an easy express trip to Seattle is going to have to be put on hold. And we're going to a critical game number 3, Synderen.
It's what we all predicted, actually. So we're all right so far.
Someone's going to be right, yeah. Whether it's me alone or you 3 for 4 anchors, we'll have to see. But we're back. For now, we have Hani at the panel. At his
Where
solo.
is Ben?
Ben's not here.
Ben, what? Ben. Hey,
Hello.
Ben.
Yeah, there's Ben. Hi, buddy. Welcome. So we'll take a moment to look over the numbers.
Nice.
5-minute delay, dude.
I
Yeah.
know.
The game
That
went
was
from-
fairly predictable that was going to happen, though.
They had good lanes. I think they just they had a really good draft, a really solid draft. Stealing the Shadow Demon was really clutch. They won all their lanes, prevented Lycan from rushing. That's about it.
To me, I think the things that stand out the most is that you have Matumba as the mid role, where Nymphy has been always consistent so far in this tournament playing that mid role. He hasn't had like the most shiny impact in all of the games, but he has been always consistent. He never really threw a lane. And I think Matumba Man is just one of those players that, you know, he's just very good when he gets a good start, and then he goes with that. But if he's pressured in mid role, especially maybe a Queen of Pain, is just he ended up playing that hero just because he doesn't play Lycan. I would assume so.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one factor to me in that lineup of 4SC that I see a strugglesome thing in this game. On the other hand, what I'm looking towards in this third game is Dendy usually does not play Leshrac, and it could have some, you know, like a boost for him here. If he's more confident now playing this hero, and he had a really good performance on that hero, that it could be one of those, we either ban it or we first pick it. And I'm looking towards that on the side of Na'Vi here.
I actually think like right now, in this qualifier in particular, with how strong heroes have been, I think Leshrac is a better first pick than Quap. And 4ASC went for the first pick Quap like this, especially when you look at their team, how good they are at playing around Lesh, both in safe lane and mid lane for both of their core players. I think grabbing Quap over that is a mistake, not because it's just a flat-out worse hero, but they're just so good when they have their Lesh. And they have won against lineups with Quap before in this tournament, I think. Or have they banned it every single time? I don't think so. And it's also a decent matchup. We saw it here.
Yeah, it's a really good matchup for Leshrac. I think that's one
fine.
of the bigger points, especially when you have heroes that can come in. Shadow Demon for the kill, Night Stalker, who pressured it a lot. So, I mean, the Queen of Pain thrives off of winning her lane. And a lot of times it's versus, like, heroes that don't have as good lane control, like Shadow Fiend, Dragon Knight, those sort of heroes that Queen of Pain can get a good start versus. But versus a Leshrac, you can't be pressured like that in lane. You can't get runes. You're always sitting at your tower. You can't go in for kills. You can't blink aggressively, and I think that takes away a lot from the hero.
Other than that, I guess the Shadow Demon is going to have a pretty big impact as well. Less Shadow Demon is just a very strong combo, and we've seen 4SC play really well around both of the heroes. But I feel more pressured even not having a save mechanism on the side of 4SC. They played very well having a save that can be Dazzle or the Shadow Demon, and it's going to be just...
What about some of the other ones like Abaddon or Treant? I know that they don't use in particular, but do you think they should consider these options that other teams have been using?
I just don't think that they have the same impact. Whereas you can always negate upcoming damage. When you lock down on a core, having that Shadow Demon disrupt or a Dazzle potentially saving you for another 5 seconds, it has a lot more impact than just shielding a target or Treant armor.
We've also seen some teams go for the Puck. Puck's a pretty popular pick versus Shadow Demon plus stun combo because you always just immediately phase after to disrupt. So why?
It's very true. I also think it's a good counter as a silence towards a disrupt. Generally, like initiating on a Shadow Demon is very strong.
Right.
I could see that pick coming. It depends on how comfortable they are.
I don't think they've been. I mean, they've been obviously going for the Leshrac that we've been talking about a lot. I don't know if that's in their arsenal, but I think it'd be a really good pickup.
I agree.
I think Puck is just underpicked in general. I think it's just a really good hero.
It seems to be
very flexible too.
It seems to be one of those tournament heroes, though. It's not that you see it too often being picked when a patch comes up, and then people tend to test. But in a tournament phase, usually Puck is one of those heroes that if you're in struggle, in a game or two, then Puck seems to be one of those we tend to go back to that hero because he hasn't been nerfed or anything. He's just out of trend.
Yeah, fair enough. I also want to make sure that we also, of course, give credit to someone like Artstyle on that Night Stalker. You were talking about how it was just, level 2 when the first Nightfall came, but he still managed to make it work and make a big impact, running right up to the mid lane, help participate with Denny and getting his even more of advantage in that mid lane on top of the Queen of Pain, and then he just took it right to the top and back, and it feel like any Nightfall, he tried to make the most out of it. So.
Do you think they should ban out Night Stalker in the second phase?
I think so. I don't know what's more important to ban. It just seems like a very comfort pick for Na'Vi. Sure, they beat it in game 1. That might have been what they were thinking. All right, we beat it. We can beat it again. But it was a very different kind of draft and game they went into. It was very apparent from the first 2 picks that Na'Vi were definitely taking this in a very different direction. And I don't know. It's one of those heroes where, let's imagine that first nighttime does not go that well for Artstyle. He's level 2, minute 4. Let's say 2 of his ganks fail. Then he's just a liability, even in the next nighttime. It really carries over. It's very snowbally, but they had the right composition to make it work, and they made the plays. Ultimately, you could also look at it in the sense of, well, 4ASC let it happen. A lot of those ganks they could have maybe seen coming. They could have had Rubik there defensively, ready to just protect the carry, and nothing happens. And then Artstyle becomes very weak in the following daytime, and then you can try to shine. So I don't know. Maybe they don't feel like they got outpicked or that the draft was a problem, but it was just a poor performance, which I personally think they played significantly worse than in game 1.
Yeah, and we saw it also, unfortunately, our statsman did when he pointed out for Trixie.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem their kind of a game. So we'll have to see if they could shake that kind of a game off and come back, stronger in game 3, because this is what it all comes down to, gentlemen. The winner here is going to be secured with their trip to Seattle, whether it be wildcard or the invite. The other team is going to have to be forced to work through the lower bracket at that point. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and cut to a small break. When we do return, it's going to be game 3 of 4 Anchors and Sea Captain going against Na'Vi. We'll see you soon. Something like a Blake Roar, it's going to prove to be a bit difficult. Okay, with that, they're going to be able to secure this tier 1 tower. Let's see if Boogie could snipe out a last hit.
Ice Blast for the Ice Blast. That's a pretty good one. Hook shot.
Big follow-up. Big cog setup with the call down on the return. Trixie might have jumped himself into his own death, and it looks like it is. A snag is only going to be the lightning storm, but man, That is not the opening they were hoping for. This was a lead-in jump opportunity from 4 anchors. They end up losing 3. Slowed them down quite a bit, but I don't know if they're going to have as much. If Na'Vi come out with a huge fight near that part, and well, speaking of fight, they break out one here on the bottom. They get disruption on the Nemphy. Nemphy, though, trying to use that race car speed to kind of run himself to away. Will be TPing here, and he will make it away. Not enough of the poison. Because of it, they jump right into it. The 4 of them all taking that big bit of damage, but these cogs trying to push them on back and away. They're still going to be losing their Queen of Pain. It looks like they're going to be able to get Volix thereafter. A godlike streak now for Dendi and Havost.
So, I don't know. It's kind of a limited
Oh, man.
array of options he has, as
Slither.
Nemphy is probably not getting out. Maybe with this hook shot, maybe they actually even find Dendi. He's
nice.
dead.
Yeah, they get him. Nothing. Pennies.
Yes,
So
exactly.
with that, they charge on in. They're going to get 1 racks down, it looks like. It's on 4 anchors to try to defend their base if they don't want to have to force this into a game 3, but that seems likely. Their wave going to fly out. It does hit Sonico, but they're going to quickly turn it right back onto him. There's going to be the call down. The axes move on through, but it's Havost who gets the kill, who's now dominating at this point. And here they go. Charging.